The 49ers beat the Rams in OT against all odds. We'll discuss how they did it and why it should make us all feel good about the future in today's 49K pod.
You're listening to the 49 Carats podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Thursday, October 2nd, and the 49ers had one of their toughest tasks of the season to go into SoFi Stadium and beat the Rams on a short week without their QB1, without two of their main wide receivers in this game. And yet, the 49ers find a way to pull it off. I was at this game. I have to say, for one, the energy was incredible from start to finish. So many Niner fans, as always, when we go to SoFi, it's always going to be lit, always going to be a lot of 49er fans. I'm convinced SoFi pumps noise in there. You can't tell me otherwise. But it was just a great atmosphere. I feel like this game, it felt like two games in one. I'll explain. I feel like the 49ers getting off to a hot start in the beginning, going up 14-0, that felt like one game in itself. And I kept thinking to myself, hey, this is the Rams we're talking about here. They're going to find some life at some point, and, they're going to get some points up on the board. The 49ers have to continue scoring. That was just my mindset. And then, the Rams start to cut into the lead a little bit. The 49ers offensive drives start to stall a little bit as well. So I'm like, I'm not liking where this is going. This is feeling like a closer game by the minute until finally in the fourth quarter, tie game again. So that's where I feel like the second game started, right? And let me not say it was two games in one. This felt more like three games in one. So the second game really started when they tied the game at 20-20 in the fourth quarter. And, the third game started in OT. It's 0-0 when you get to OT again. And it really just comes down to, who's going to make the play, especially with the OT rules being different now. It was just a couple weeks ago we saw the Packers and Cowboys, or was that last week? The Packers-Cowboys game that went back and forth, and both of those teams ended up tying because both of those teams kicked field goals in their respective OT drives. The 49ers got their field goal in OT, and so you're thinking, oh, God, the defense just needs to make a stop here. Just please make a stop. And I felt like that was a tough ask because, the 49ers had been allowing, the Rams to move the ball quite a bit in the second half. In the third quarter, they moved the ball, but they had a missed field goal. Then they scored a touchdown to make it 20-14. Then they had a touchdown again on their following drive to make it 20-20. Then they punted. And then was the fumble. More about that in a bit. That fumble was incredible. And then after that, they got a field goal. So, I felt like it was a tall task for the 49ers defense there to essentially try to win the game for the 49ers. And at that point, the Rams had 2 minutes. They had ample time. They had a couple of big plays. They had the big play to Tutu Atwell for 38 yards. And so that set them up in perfect position. They got to the goal line. You had to imagine, Shanahan and McVay, a tale as old as time. These guys go at each other's throats when they play each other. I think we could have all figured that the Rams were not going to just play for the tie. That's just not very McVay of him, So it was risky. It was very risky for them to go for it on 4th and 1, but they're right there. pretty much at the goal line. They can seal this win. And my God, for the 49ers to make that stop was everything. SoFi went absolutely nuts. Nuts, I tell you. Like, to see the happiness on all the players' faces and just them running around to have the game end in the walk-off fashion that it did with that stop, that's huge. That's a statement. I mean, anytime that you stop any team at the goal line on 4th down, it's going to be a statement. This one sealed the game. And yes, now they're 3-0 in the division. That is huge. I'm so proud of the way that this team fought today from the very beginning. I'm one of the people, and I'll say it, I don't care. I'll say it. I didn't think the 49ers had much of a chance to win this game. Just looking at it from a realistic perspective. Like, if you're a realist, you look at the 49ers not having Brock Purdy, you look at them not having Jauan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. So who do they have available? They had Demarcus Robinson, who I thought could be, pretty good, wide receiver for them. This was going to be a revenge game for him. Well, he didn't do much, but Kendrick Bourne went off. The Kendrick Bourne Mac Jones connection is cooking. Okay, it's Hell's Kitchen cooking. 10 catches, 142 yards for Kendrick Bourne on 11 targets. He only had 1 drop. Funny enough, his drop did come on a 3rd down, just like it did last week. I was like, oh my God, it's happening all over again. But he did make up for last week. I do have to give it to him. And yeah, McCaffrey, surprise, surprise, second leading receiver on the team again. 8 catches, 82 yards. So, yeah, man, like, for them to get it done with just the limited, the limitations they had on offense is just really incredible. And even on defense, like, you're still thinking about the fact that this team does not have Nick Bosa. And in fact, you saw it quite a bit. Matthew Stafford having so much time to throw, and you're like, this is a recipe for potential disaster, right? You got Puka Nacua, who's been cooking, absolutely cooking throughout the first few weeks of the season, and you think, hey, like, he's going to get his. And he did, but the 49ers also held him to the lowest yardage total of the season, and that was 85 yards for Puka Nacua. Previous high was 91. So I think that's a huge, huge accomplishment for the 49ers. They should feel really good, like over the moon about the performance that they had. And I know they do, like they must, right? How could you not have such an impressive game like that and not feel just great about it? That locker room's got to be insane. So I just felt like everyone contributed. Everyone had belief that they would win this. What's crazy is that there were several times where you felt like this team or the game could be lost. I definitely felt like the game was gonna be lost on the play that the fumble drive, because there was just a lot going wrong for the 49ers on that one that put like the Rams in favorable position. Like the fact that Lenore got called for defensive holding, and then shortly after that, like Michael Williams gets called for illegal use of hands. There were so many, like, I'll have to take a better look. I'm in the stands. Like, I don't see the replays of these things to really, I guess, say with certainty. But it just felt like there were a lot of penalties on the Niners, and like I'll have to watch those again. What did you guys think of the penalties that the 49ers were called on? Just out of curiosity, let me know. But that drive felt huge. And keep in mind, that's the 4th quarter. The 49ers are only up 3 points. It's looking like the Rams are going to score a touchdown. And they get to the 3-yard line 49ers can't really stop them. Kyren Williams tries to go up the middle, and here comes Alfred Collins. Before that play, I was literally thinking to myself, God, do you just let them score here? Because there's only like 1 minute left. And if they score, the 49ers have to have a touchdown in 1 minute, with Mac Jones that's clearly somewhat hobbled. He went down at some point. I forgot when that was in the game, but I do remember that after that, like, Mac Jones was super limited, it felt like, or at least the offense was just very limited. So I'm like, man, like, do we just let them score and just hope for the best on our offensive drive? And you can kind of feel it, like, everyone was kind of thinking it, except for one man, and that one man was Alfred Collins. The sheer force that he exuded in this forced fumble, absolutely insane. The most Hulk smash ass forced fumble that I have ever seen in my life. That man really, like, swung his arm back as far as he could, and just perfect timing too, like, just whacked. I accidentally unplugged my mic. Am I back? Got too excited. There. First, he hit, like, Kyron's face mask, and then, like, it hits the ball, and you can hear it. Like, I've played that video so many times already. Just Alfred Collins smacking that ball out, and you can hear it. That's, like, how hard he hits it. What a play! I mean, there's so many instances where I feel like, again, it felt like a real team effort. But my God, like, the rookies on this defense, they're ready. They're so ready. These are grown men. These are grown-ass men. They are ready for NFL football. Like, that's been, like, clear to me, but these are going to be game changers. That Alfred Collins play was a game changer. I'm not sure the 49ers win this one without that play at the goal line. Just incredible. Like, they're made for the big moments, and they come from top schools like Michael, Georgia, Collins, Texas. Like, they've played in big games. They know what it's like. They've made plays in big moments, and you're already seeing that in the NFL through the first 5 weeks of the season. That's very incredible, and that's, I think, a very, very positive sign of things to come for this 49ers defense. And again, just doing it kind of shorthanded, like, without much of a pass rush. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm so impressed. I had no idea that they had this in them, because I've seen some fight, out of this team, and I definitely have noted that the character of this team is totally different than it was last year. Like, this team actually does feel like it has pride, in what they're doing out there, and they have fight. But I didn't know they had this much fight. Like, this is kind of crazy. This looked like a team that can win any game, and maybe it's just because it was the Rams. For some reason, Kyle Shanahan he can't help himself. If Sean McVay's on the other end, Kyle Shanahan's going to cook something special. By the way, Kyle Shanahan seemed to not love so much the fact that the Rams were favored so much over the 49ers, and I guess he went up to Mac Jones and told him how much he wanted to beat the Rams, or just he was pissed off about that. So it's personal. It's always personal with Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. If the 49ers just played like this every game, they could beat anybody. They really could. I mean, this Rams team was close to beating the Eagles, who are currently one of the only undefeated teams in the NFL, who currently look like the best team in all of football right now, right? The Rams almost did it. 49ers just beat them. The NFL is crazy. Anything can happen at any given time. Oh, man. Just incredible. Let me get to some of these comments. Appreciate all of you. By the way, shout out to Marco, who he was sitting like in the row behind me, said he listened to the podcast. Shout out Marco. Hope you hear this at some point. But yeah, you were super cool. And what a game. What a game. Proteus West says getting the ball first means you can walk off with a field goal on the third possession. That is like the most Kyle Shanahan comment I've ever seen. Kyle, is that you? I know. I was a little worried when the game went to overtime. I was like, everyone make sure Kyle Shanahan knows what the rules are, please. Can't afford another mishap here. I think he was briefed on the new OT rules. I think he got it. I don't know if this was a trap game for the Rams. I mean, I don't see any divisional game as a trap game because, like, divisional games are weird. And I said it in my previous show. While I did note that I didn't think the 49ers were going to win this game, I did say that divisional games are weird, and sometimes teams that are very like lopsided, one team's way better than the other, it'll be like a very competitive game just because it's two teams that know each other so well. So like they just match up incredibly well, and you get games like this. At the same time, it's almost an insult to say this was a trap game for the Rams. Because, like, I think the 49ers have shown us that, I mean, they're for real. I was worried about what I saw last week from this team, and I was worried about this game being on a short week, on top of the injuries, of course, as well. I was just like, man, like, a lot of the bad things kind of just bubbled up to the surface against the Jags last week. So I was like, I don't know if they have enough time to like turn this around in just a few days and like focus on the Rams to get this win, especially without Pearsall, who's been incredible, without Jauan Jennings, who's so reliable, and without Brock. Like that's your QB1. I will say this. What an interesting conversation we're going to be having this week, if you're not having it already, about just, I guess, the state of quarterback for this team, right? I'll say this, and I think Mac Jones said it well. Brock Purdy is the starting quarterback of this team. After all, he's paid a lot of money to be that. And because of that, he will continue to be the starting quarterback of this team. What complicates the situation a little bit is the fact that we know that Brock Purdy is hurt, and that is why he did not play in this game, right? So that has opened up an opportunity for Mac Jones to start, and he has won. So, and he's won in a way that he's been convincing. He's operating this offense very effectively. Exactly how, like, you just know this is how Kyle Shanahan wants to run his offense. Like, and Mac even talked about it, just having the trust in the system. I can't even imagine how proud Kyle Shanahan was to hear that, to hear Mac Jones like say that, because I think Kyle just wants quarterbacks that follow the system, that trust the system. I got these guys open for you. Just trust that it's going to be there. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. So for Mac to be in a space where he's comfortable, like operating this offense, clearly he's so comfortable right now. I mean, it looks good. It looks good. And I think for the 49ers, that just makes it so, because Brock is getting paid so much money, you kind of have the luxury of being able to say, okay, Brock, we need to protect you as the investment that we paid so much money to, and we're going to let you heal up 100%. Kyle Shanahan did say that Brock Purdy did re-aggravate. He used that word. I was careful about using that word prior because I didn't know, like, Brock talked about it being sore. Kyle Shanahan talked about it being sore after last week's game. But they hadn't used the word re-aggravate. So, like, I don't know. Didn't want to use that word. But Kyle today did use that word. He reactivated it. Brock Purdy is week to week. Don't know how it will heal. And there's rumors that he's an injured reserve candidate. Again, rumors. It's not like a for real report, although Vic Taffer kind of alluded to that too. So this could be something that lingers for Brock Purdy. If it doesn't linger, then it's going to be something that will at least probably keep him out for a bit until he's actually 100%. And in the meantime, you're going to have Mac Jones continuing to start potentially. I know Mac Jones, like I said, seemed like, his knee is still kind of giving him some issues too, and that's partially why he went down. But he did come back in. Now they have 11 days rest, so maybe those 11 days will be good for Mac. But all that to say, I just think it's so interesting. The 49ers quarterback controversies, for lack of a better word, controversies, if you want to call it that. Again, lack of a better word, kind of right themselves. And it's always the same plot. It's just so weird to me. But anyway, I feel good. I feel good if Mac Jones has to start more games. He's been protecting the football. I think that's important. And he's dressed like a Gotham City villain every single week. Like, this is incredible stuff that we're seeing from Mac Jones here. How do you go to a game dressed like this and lose? You simply do not. You can't walk in wearing this suit looking like Two-Face and lose. You simply don't. Oh, sorry, I didn't even know I wasn't sharing it. This is crazy stuff. Mac Jones has a lot of aura. I appreciate it. He's doing a good job right now. And I appreciate that. But anyway, let me get back to some of these comments. Yeah, no division game is a trap. They're all must-wins. Absolutely agree with that. Okay, I'm finally getting your guys' comments because I'm sidetracking myself, but I'm finally getting your guys' comments about some of the calls that were made because you guys had a better view of it than I did. Proteus says the Michael one was trash. Mariah says bunch of BS. Yeah, Lenore was called on a lot of things, so I'm curious about that one because that's just not. It feels uncharacteristic for him. So I was like, this many flags? Like, what is going on? Proteus says the demo ones were probably more legitimate. Okay. I mean, if they were, that's fine. I was just like surprised, I guess, that he got called he called for so many penalties. My dad says I think the refs didn't call on roughing MJ. Mac Jones. They did call one personnel foul on Mac. I don't know if there was another play where they should have, but I know early in the game, in the first half, they did call that, which did help the Niners. Yeah, I did see Lenore's tweet. He said something like, just watch the game and you'll see something different or something like that. Or just watch the tape and you'll see something different. I figured he was talking about the penalties. So can't wait to watch that tomorrow. Proteus says, yeah, they missed a couple of roughing calls on Mac for sure, though we probably got away with a roughing too. Okay, so there were more, I guess. Yeah, I mean, Mac was getting hit. He was hanging in the pocket, though, and he was getting the ball out right on time. So many times he was got the ball out right before guys got there. Refs also caught a face mask, but there wasn't. Crazy. 49er Media, shout out to you. He says, my birthday is on Saturday, so it makes me feel good. Thank you, Niners, for winning. Absolutely. We all felt good, man. And happy birthday to you. Joel says, any guesses on who at defensive end we can trade for? me talk about first. Shout out to Master Sith 40 for the donation. It says "Go Niners, let's go Niners." Whose house? Niners. Heard that a lot today. Okay, back to Joel. Any guesses who we could trade for? Yeah, Trey Hendrickson. I mean, I'm gonna say this. This team is worth investing in. And a couple of weeks ago, when Nick Bosa went down, my thought was, well, you don't really have enough information to know if you should invest in this team yet. And also, it's a little early. Like, the trade deadline, I believe, is in November or something like that. It's like after week 9, if I'm not mistaken. I've mentioned this before. So I'm like, I think the 49ers want to gather information about what they have, both on the defensive line, but also as a team. And as a team, I think this is a roster, based on what I'm seeing from this team, this is a team that is worth investing in. They're fighting for each other. These guys are playing for each other. That's speaking volumes, holding a lot of weight. And these rookies are coming along fast. But you're still not getting enough of a pass rush. So right now, it still feels like this defense is skating by a little bit, right? But you just see the potential that they have, especially these rookies, these young players. Thought Bernardo Green played pretty well today as well. So I think you absolutely got to go for the big fish, and the biggest fish of all is Trey Hendrickson. Of course, he'd be a rental, and you'd probably have to give up a lot for him. So if the 49ers aren't feeling like they want to go that hard on this season, there are other options as well. If they want to go cheap, there's Arden Key. There's a couple guys from the Giants who would make sense. They have a really stacked defensive line on the Giants. You could probably even call the Browns because they have a hell of a defensive line, a hell of a defense, but their offense is not helping them get wins. So they could be potentially a team with a lot of talent that is looking to sell at the deadline. So they'll have options. But basically what I want to say is the 49ers should absolutely look to make a trade for a defensive end, and a good one, I think. So my pick would be Trey Hendrickson. But there are other options that I think would be just as impactful. Well, not just as impactful, but would also be impactful for this team that really could use some pass rush. It's impressive that the defense could still find other ways to be effective. But yeah, they could really use some pass rush. My dad said, I am one who counted the Niners out, losing badly, but I was wrong. I thought so too. I thought it was going to be a blowout. But hey, by the way, I bought my ticket after finding out that all those guys were going to be out. Hey, it's okay. I said to myself, I'm going to have a good time regardless. And guess what? I had a hell of a time. But I was wrong. I am so happy to say I was wrong. I don't care that I was wrong. And I'm sticking to what I said because, I think the 49ers had every excuse to lose this game and, we'd have just brushed it off. Let's move on to the Bucs. Let's get healthy. So the fact that they did it is just so impressive. Joel says we won the turnover battle. That is big. That is really big. No interceptions yet for this team, but they're finding other ways. 2 fumbles for the Rams. That's huge. Oh my God, you guys have a lot of comments. Nathan, the Lambs. The Rams are always like the get-right game for the Niners. At least historically, that's how it's been. It's kind of incredible. Okay. I want to talk about one more thing before closing thoughts. Eddie Pinheiro? 59 yards, my guy? Are you kidding me? 59 yards? We've got a kicker. We've got a kicker, my guys. Or my people. We've got a kicker. Wow, like what a performance from him. I mean, I don't think we win this game with Jake Moody as as the kicker. Who? Exactly. Let me go through the yardage totals of Eddie Pinheiro's kicks. We already talked about the 59-yard one. Okay, there was 37-yard field goal. And the Rams missed one of their field goals. Kind of came back to bite them, didn't it? 20-yard field goal. Then in the fourth, that was the 59-yarder. And Kyle said, screw it. We're going to go for it. I was so surprised when I saw Pinheiro, going out there. I'm like, are they going to attempt this right now? Why not? Right? Trying is a lot better than punting the ball back to the Rams. Why not just try? On the Rams 41, 59-yard field goal was good. Was that the one that hit the upright? That one was really close, the upright one. It hit the upright and then went in. Then he had a 41-yard field goal. Maybe that was the one. Keep me honest here in the chat. But what a performance from Eddie Pinheiro. I mean, it feels good to have a kicker that you know is going to make kicks. The bare freaking minimum. Yeah, the upright one was the 41-yarder. Every other kick was... And that one was an OT. Jesus Christ, man. I was having heart palpitations, I think. I don't know what that feels like, but I'm pretty pretty sure that's what I was feeling. Guys, this is what it's all about, guys. Hell of a day. Hell of a day. All right, well, let me get to just going over a couple of stats. Let's talk about Mac Jones, 33 of 49. I feel like Mac Jones, every time that he's started, his attempts have been through the roof. Part of that is because the 49ers have no ground game whatsoever. Also, sidebar, I'm not complaining too much, but sidebar. I felt like in the first half, Kyle Shanahan, who's doing a great job, opening script was awesome. The first drive that they had, perfection. Mac was 5 of 5. Second drive, touchdown again. It was all working really well. You know what I really liked is that in the first half, they were actually using Brian Robinson in short yardage situations. And I was like, okay, finally, we got it. This is actually pretty good. And in the second half, they stopped using him in short yardage situations. It wasn't always working for him. But in any case, I would like to see a little bit more of Brian Robinson in the short yardage situations, in the red zone. But I get it. It's hard to take Christian McCaffrey off the field. I propose having both of them on the field at the same time. Maybe we see that when Kittle is back. I don't know. Maybe that's something they would only do with him on the field. Not sure, but yeah, I just noticed that. You stopped seeing Brian Robinson in the second half, and I was like, what's happening? I thought it was working. It was working, Kyle. But no complaints. Niners won. All right, so McCaffrey over 100. Don't make me do math, but he had 57 yards rushing and then 82 yards receiving, as well as the touchdown that he had. So he continues to make an impact on this team. I felt like in the second half, he caught less passes in the second half. Maybe the Rams were just like keying in on him a little bit more then, because he was like, it almost felt like him and Bourne were like the entire offense most of this game. But especially in the first half, there was a lot of McCaffrey in that first half. And Jake Tunges as well, who's been awesome. He's been pretty good as a pass catcher, and he caught a touchdown today. That is his third of the season. He has a bit of a knack in the red zone. Hey, you don't have George Kittle. How about Kittle light? And Jake Tunges, 7 catches, 41 yards. That'll do. If you're missing so many guys, look no further than Bourne, McCaffrey, and Jake Tunges. Marcus Robinson caught a few passes early in the game. I felt like there were more early in the game, 39 yards total on 3 catches. I thought he'd have a bigger impact. He had 7 targets, but came down with 3. But all in all, I mean, again, like, credit to Mac for getting it done with a lot of these second string, like. And to be fair, he had a lot of work with Demarcus Robinson in training camp, a lot of work with Tunges in training camp, and obviously he had a lot of work with Kendrick Bourne with the Patriots. But credit to Mac. I mean, Jesus, man. He still had this offense moving pretty well. And credit to Kyle Shanahan, who had tons of balls in this game. Tons of them. I think, see, you guys are talking offensive line. That's a polarizing subject for many. I thought the offensive line played pretty well for most of it, considering this defense. Jared Verse, scary going up against those guys. Mac Jones had a pretty fast time to throw as well. We'll see how that time to throw ranks throughout this whole week. But his time to throw was 2.61 compared to Stafford's, who was 2.67. Compared to the full regular season and what guys are averaging in time to throw, the fastest is 2.52. And so, yeah, if you kind of put this performance from Mac Jones in the average of the year ranking, he'd be third. He'd be third fastest. So, yeah, his time to throw was pretty quick today, but I think that was necessary. That was necessary because you don't want the Rams teeing off on you, basically, which they got pretty close a few times, and he just got the ball out right on time. Thought Bryce Huff did a pretty good job. I mean, he's not going to be able to do it all on his own, which is why I think it's so important that you bring in another defensive end. He did have a sack in this game. That's the only sack on Matthew Stafford. Marquez Siegel, 13 tackles, 7 solo, 1 pass defended. I tweeted out that stat. If you guys listened to the preview show, I mentioned it there that in coverage, Siegel has been targeted quite a bit and has allowed a lot of completions when he's like the nearest defender in his coverage. And there were a couple moments in this game where you saw that as well. There was the one to Ferguson, the rookie tight end out of Oregon. I actually liked him coming out of this draft, but he had that catch over Siegel as well. And a lot of people, when I tweeted that out about Siegel, mentioned that Siegel he's not like he's getting burned or anything. He's in position. And this is true. He is in position. I think the only thing he needs to get better at is just learning to play the ball, being maybe more aggressive at the catch point. And those are fixable things. So no knock on Siegel. I think he did a pretty good job today, all things considered. Very tough task playing against this Rams offense that has Puka Nacua and not letting him get over on top of you. Tutu Atwell, who's a speedster, right? Devontae Adams, who still got it, And as I mentioned, Puka Nacua had his lowest yardage total of the season in this game. So credit to the secondary there for keeping him in check as much as they could. I mean, it's still Puka. He's incredible. And also on the final play, the goal line walk-off stand, Chase Lucas was the first guy there. Then there was a couple guys, but Marcus Siegel came in and pretty much sealed the deal. Like, you see Kyron Williams go back to the point of no return. Like, he was not getting that yard once Siegel entered the picture. So like I said, he does some things really well, and I'm really excited about Siegel actually. And I say play the rookies because they're gonna go through their lumps, and they're gonna have moments where they're learning. They fail sometimes. They fail and learn the hard way. But they're gonna be better for it. I think Marcus Siegel's going to be one of those guys. I think all the rookies that are playing on this defense right now are going to be just fine. They're made of the right stuff. You can just see it. So, yeah, credit to Marcus Siegel as well. Fred Warner, still a menace. 12 tackles, 7 solo. So, some good stuff. Yeah, and I thought special teams overall was actually pretty okay. I mean, I talked about Pinheiro already, but I thought coverage was pretty decent, and then returns was also, pretty decent. Like, Sky Moore had the long of 38. I'll take it. Just don't lose a game for us, okay? Now I get why Kyle Shanahan says that. Special teams so bad. 49ers 4-0 in NFC, 3-0 in division. A lot of good tiebreakers so far. That's a good way to end it right there. That's a perfect way to end this show. We'll be back on Monday with Weston. So bear with us. We're going to talk about this game. Crown a 49K Player of the Week. I'm guessing we'll have a lot of nominations on Monday. So make sure you guys tune in for that. I'm going to be on KTVU if you're local to the Bay Area. I'm going to be on KTVU News tomorrow, 9:15 in the morning. So make sure you guys tune into that. We'll be breaking down this game. Hopefully I have a voice. It'll be a little raspy. But, hey, we'll make it work. And, yeah, appreciate all of you that tuned in. Hell of a game. I think one of my favorites. Definitely think it's in the top 3 of games that I've been to. I did for a short moment say that it was the best, but then I remembered, wait, I was literally at the pick at the stick game. Nothing tops that game. Nothing tops that one. So this is probably number 2. It's either number 2 or number 3, but it's up there because it was just so many emotions, so much back and forth, so many times that it felt like the 49ers can lose, and then the 49ers kind of just giving themselves some life. Incredible. So with that, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy this win. Make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I go live next. Appreciate all of you. Yes, we'll all be sleeping so good tonight. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.